I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Ryder Lee. I've got great upcoming guests, Anya Saru, Stephen Stathis, Jay Hansator, and Russell J. Gould. Be on the lookout for those. Also, check out my films. Occult Louisiana is on Tubi. Doors of Perception is on Amazon Prime. Film number 3 is in the works. We have a film fundraiser going on right now. If you'd like to help with that, we have links in the description. Any donation of $100 or more, you get a film credit and a pre-release copy of the film. I am booking guests for June. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome back to the show Ryder Lee. He is a filmmaker, researcher, and host of Raised by Giants podcast. Ryder, welcome back. How you doing?
Chris Matthews, good to see you, brother. Thanks for having me back on. We are in the strangest of strangest times, so I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, sir. What a time to be alive. Bro, our government finally decided to do right by the people and release the UFO files. And this comes shortly after the release of the infamous Epstein files. I know you've been looking through the files today, so have I. I can say that most of what I've seen so far is a bit underwhelming, to say the least. Lots of to-do among a few nuggets of interesting. And just like with the Epstein files, it's a convoluted mess with a lot of nonsense mixed in with the really interesting stuff. But I guess we'll see as time goes on what's going to be released, what we can get our hands on. Before we get your thoughts on everything today, I know you're finishing up your new documentary, Psychic Agent: The Gate Program. How's that going, brother?
It's going really well. It'll be submitted here very soon, so be on the lookout for that. A trailer will be followed by that. So hopefully by the end of the month, that will be released on Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus. So I've been working on that for like 8 months now, so it's really exciting when you finally finish a project like that. So I'm really excited. Today is my first day back of shows, so thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I was just talking with Ryan Gable last night about this because I was trying to figure out the whole pastor situation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumblings, mostly on Twitter, X, that pastors had been briefed by the government on UFOs and UAPs and extraterrestrials and aliens and all that. And I was like, and I watched one of the first videos, the main one that kind of came out that was claiming that he was, briefed by quote unquote government officials on what they're going to do to prepare for the documents that are getting ready to be released.
Yes.
So I started digging into that a little bit, and I found it so ridiculously convoluted and ridiculous. Some people were saying that it was a meeting. Some people were saying that it wasn't a meeting. Some people were saying that it was a government meeting. Others said that it wasn't a government meeting. And then Tony Merkel gets on his podcast and is like, this wasn't a real government meeting. This was ran by church intelligence agents that's been collecting this information over the period of decade, and that it was going around briefing all of these pastors and all of these people on what's to come, and that it's this whole thing that is demons and that it's all. And I'm like,
Merkel put that out on his show?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
So I was getting to the point where I was like, I don't even know what is actually happening. And then I seen Rep. Paula Luna from Florida last night post on Twitter X saying that the files were going to be released today. And I talked to Ryan Gable on the phone last night, and I was like, hey, what do you think is going on with all this stuff? Like, what's the deal with all these pastors and everything? And we kind of came to the conclusion that there was something going on, because we also had Kash Patel saying that they were in the process of releasing the files. We had Dave Grush on someone's podcast saying that within the next 30 to 40 days or 30 to 60 days or whatever, the files were going to be released. He wasn't going to put an exact date on it, but everyone was kind of in lockstep that the files were getting ready to be released. You know, you had Paula Luna last night saying that today they were going to be released. So whenever I woke up early this morning, I had received that text message from Ryan. He said, by the time you're reading this, you'll know that the files had been released.
Right. And this is just a first release, correct? They'll be releasing files over the weeks and months.
Yeah, there's around roughly 140 to 147 files were released on the Department of War website. I scanned through every single one of them. Most of them are just documents. They're very little. The pictures that are in there are on the front of the website. So
Yeah.
you want to see nothing but pictures of pilots taking photos of in the like the Tic Tac where it's got the crosshairs and all that, and a strange anomalous craft in the background. You don't really need to do much investigation on the site.
Mostly military photos and videos that you're going to see there.
But I wanted to play this video really quickly from this pastor that was on Twitter talking about how he had received information that the files that were going to be released was going to completely destroy Christianity and destroy and prove that Jesus never existed and that the entire New Testament was like a fabrication. And I just wanted to listen to that really quickly.
Private meeting with a group of men who are connected with the intelligence world that are believers, but are still have very high security clearance. These are legit, true men of God that are still connected to Washington and even this current administration and all branches of military. And they literally told us, we had a sitting congressman, a very well-known congressman from Missouri. He called into that meeting as well. That was just for pastors. And this is what he said. On speakerphone, this sitting powerful member of Congress said, "Are the pastors listening to me?" I'm getting chills right now because this happened to me. He said, "Are the pastors in the room listening to me?" And I said, "Yes, sir, we are here." And he said, "Listen to me. Go and tell the church they are not ready for what is coming. The narrative that is coming, what they are going to say is going to be like nothing you can even imagine. They are preparing to tell us that they are from another dimension, that they are our creator, and that these beings, these aliens, or whatever you want to call them, they were the ones that seeded us here. There is no such thing as God. Jesus was invented by them. The Bible was invented by them." And begin to just say, listen, prepare the people for what is coming because they're not ready.
That's pretty much it. And that's not what we got.
Right.
You know what I mean? Listening to that, you think that it's going to be super explosive, right? Like, we're going to get the details. It's going to come out and it's going to wreck everything. It's going to wreck all these institutions. The church is going to be completely destroyed and annihilated. But then he walked back a lot of those statements. But if you listen to that, he clearly says that this congressperson told him this directly. Now, he released another video later saying that that's not what the congressperson said, and that was his own opinion. Interjected his own opinion in there, but that doesn't really make any sense. Like, you either got to believe that these people are stupid or that they have the memory of a fish. Like, Chris, if someone came to me and was like, "Hey, I want you to be a part of this meeting. We're going to disclose some information to you that we want you to know to get out to your audience," or whatever, you can be damn sure that I'm going to remember every single thing that was said. I'm going to know who set up the meeting. I want to know every single person that was there. I'm going to know the name of the person and the agency that had to do with this entire thing.
100%.
Right? There's not going to be any confusion, but for some reason, there's nothing but confusion. Everybody was saying different things that they heard from different places. And at this point, I'm like, I don't even think this meeting even happened.
Right. We're being fed two polarizing narratives as usual. Your Coke or Pepsi of high impact events to choose from. It's either aliens or demons. Even within the government, within the higher levels of the military, there seems to be a split in belief systems that they're portraying. J.D. Vance even says he believes aliens are demons. Those are the two narratives that we're being fed that people have to choose from. And I think just like any other intelligence operation, they're going to have these theatrical events and people inserted and people given bad information, real believers given bad information so that they can go and spread to their audience what someone told them who they believe was credible. So it's a common intelligence tactic with all of these events that we've been put through. But it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out, because those two narratives don't allow for anything in between that it could be, including government psychological operations.
Absolutely. And, things get labeled by religious people that they don't understand as demons and Satan, like all the time. Literally, that's been the thing of the church and religious institutions from the very beginning. There's, oh, something happened that I don't understand. It's of the devil. That's been the playbook for the longest amount of time.
Yeah.
And if anything, that's the direction that I thought that it was going to head. That because we've been primed for this for in the coming years. Even Lou Elizondo, a couple of years back, was talking about how he believed that the aliens were demons, right? And that's been the on topic narrative that's been perpetuated for the past, I don't know, like at least all of this year, has been that these entities are fallen angels. They're fallen angel technology, that they're demons and all this. And I was like, oh, well, that seems like the logical conclusion. If a meeting did exist between these preachers and pastors and these big time churches and these Christian influencers and preacher influencers, that's what I would imagine was being told to them, right? Because that keeps the narrative going, right? If it was, it was either one of two things. It was that these are angels, right? That they're godly, that they're angelic, which doesn't make too much sense. I mean, I guess you could kind of pass it off as that to a certain degree, but the main thing that you're going to want to do is have them believe that it's demons and that it's of Satan and that it's of the devil, because that's the logical step and the logical conclusion that a majority of people in religious circles already believe, right? It's like the Paul Benowitz story. They didn't really have to convince Paul that, it was extraterrestrials and aliens that they were seeing, because he already believed it. He already believed that that's what it was. So you didn't really have to convince him or push him in that way very much. You just had to kind of be like, oh, I kind of think that what you're talking about is really interesting. And then he convinces himself. So that's the narrative that I believe, if there was this meeting, because I'm back and forth on even if there was a meeting or if it was a government meeting. But this guy was saying that there was this Congress person that was in on this meeting. So there had to have been, if it did happen, there had to have been some sort of governmental influence there. But no one was on the same page with the entire thing. But then we get the drop today. We get the reveal today. And I posted a lot of things on my Facebook page as I was kind of going through, and I'll do a share screen here or some of just directly on the Facebook page, because I just put the things on there that I kind of thought were interesting to me. It might not be interesting to other people, but I thought that it was, at least somewhat interesting, that maybe needs to be taken a second look at. So the first one that I found was this document from 1967 that where this gentleman allegedly saw a craft while in 1944. Now, 1944 is an interesting date because it's before the Kenneth Arnold sighting. It's before a lot of the major UFO sightings of that time, but it wasn't reported until 1967, right? This report until 1967. So he could have then, because the UFO and flying saucer craze hit hard in 1947 with the Kenneth Arnold sightings. All of a sudden, everybody was starting to see flying saucers and call them flying saucers and everything. But I just think the timing is really interesting. But this guy believed that the craft was designed and engineered by a man that was a German engineer. And these are the composite the negatives. These are the
Oh,
negatives,
yeah.
the photographs that he took of the craft.
Right.
I thought that was interesting, but that's the first one that says that he believes that this was a foreign military's man-made craft. This one I thought was really interesting because I had been talking about this. I've talked about this on your show. I've talked about it on my show several times and many other people's shows, that the flying saucer narrative came from a sport that predated Kenneth Arnold sightings by decades, and it was a sport of flying saucers.
Like frisbees.
Yeah, like frisbees, and they would throw them, and then they would also be used as trap shooting and guns, and like they would call clay pigeons. They would be thrown in
Mm.
the air, and then it was used as target practice, and it was later adopted by the military during World War II, and then it kind of fell out of you know commonplace with the everyday public, and it just became a military, and then up until then in 1947, then it gets renamed to be these actual craft in the sky. Yeah, it's a co-optive way to co-opt the term. I
Yeah.
thought this one was interesting because it's kind of getting back to that demonic devil, that these are demons and
Sky Devil ship.
sky devil ship. But there's also other ones that are really funny in there too, of like flying table lamp, flying table one.
I saw some hilarious pictures in there. I don't know if you saw the article about the man walking through the forest that may have found the body of a little green man, and it's a picture of a dude holding up a picture of what definitely looks like a skinned squirrel or rabbit or some kind of woodland creature. It's pretty sad, man.
Right here it is.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, this guy, Edward Waters, and two friends said that they saw this flying saucer and they ran over they said that they seen a bunch of entities running around on the road, and they decided to run one of them over. And then whenever they
Yeah.
ran it over, I had never heard this before, so I thought that it was pretty interesting. I never heard this story. They got out of the car. The entity was glowing with a red hue. And then they saw three other little men scurry off into the distance and get into a very small, like 4 foot diameter UFO craft, and then buzz off into the sky. And then he's
Yeah,
got
it even
this.
says in the article a skinned monkey.
Yeah, yeah. The
It's
scientists
great.
claimed that it was a skinned monkey. Yeah. But they
This is the
didn't.
stuff we have to work with. And then we have pictures of quote unquote flying saucer debris that looks like someone just smashed a toaster and took pictures of the debris.
Yeah, I didn't post any of those because I thought that
Yeah.
it was the Murray Island incident, because that's the same type of scenario that happened with the Murray Island incident that involved Kenneth Arnold. That the people on the boat, and this debris came out of the center of the ship and then killed his dog and injured his son's arm and all of that, and then sank the ship. And then these two Air Force officers went to collect some of the debris, and then whenever they got back on the plane to leave Washington, the plane crashed and it killed the two Air Force officers. I thought that that was the debris that was in there, but it wasn't. It was something from Maine or something like that that was scientifically tested to be just some weird formations.
Mm, yeah.
Um, this one is really interesting. This is from 1942, which this gentleman claims that the real story of UFOs was aren't extraterrestrial. They're actually U.S. built craft, and the first one was built in 1942.
Yeah.
Here's some pictures of the supposed craft here. And this article is really fascinating because it goes into the propulsion and how it works. And, um, how it flies, and that it's basically a U.S. made man-made craft. This one's really interesting. This one is apparently from 1950. It's of Mr. X. It's one of those. This is the alien creature here on the right.
Oh, I didn't see this one.
Yeah, this one's pretty interesting. It's apparently it's kind of that guy. What there was like two or three different one of these aliens that they had supposedly captured. One of them, what was the one, Bob or whatever? There was like
Yeah.
Bob, there was like Mr. X. There's like the alien autopsy footage or whatever.
Hmm.
This one is supposedly taken in Germany in 1950, and then here's the reverse image synopsis of it that shows that there wasn't anything tampered with, that it wasn't Photoshop or anything.
It's interesting. It still could be a dude in a mask, though, a little short dude or a child.
Absolutely, it definitely could be, but
Yeah.
at least it shows that it's not
Not a fake photo.
not a fake tampered with
Yeah.
photo. It definitely
That
could
is
be.
interesting,
But
though.
they got this entity on a leash here.
That's great. That's the way they handled those aliens back then. You just put a leash on them and they're docile.
That's right. You can get them pretty easily like that.
Break
That
them
was
in.
in one. This one is another guy that worked for the German war production ministry, saying that UFOs are a top secret weapons made by the U.S. And
Ah,
it's another newspaper clipping here from the files. It says that there are two types of flying saucers built to today, with one diameter of 48 feet powered by 5 jets, and a larger model with a diameter of 126 feet and 12 jets. This, he says, accounts for the rumor that saucers often appear to change size and density. Raised wing flaps lift both aircraft like a helicopter. The one big one can keep it stationary by turning the jets down to counter balance gravity. Flying saucers developed in Canada by John Frost, former colleague of Sir Frank Whittle, have reached speeds up to 1,500 miles per hour and have been inspected by Fort Material Montgomery, says this gentleman here. So, hey, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of clippings in these documents that are saying that these crafts are not extraterrestrial or alien of origin, that they are human man-made, mostly from Germany, Russia, and the United States. So find that very interesting. This one is pretty interesting too. This one might be the first missing inventor or engineer
huh.
in the files related to UFOs. In 1949, Air Force officers found an abandoned barn with two prototype disc-shaped craft inside, which they couldn't locate the person responsible for making the craft. But here are some pictures of the supposed craft that were found in this abandoned barn. Got a
Interesting.
little wheel here with some gauges, and looking like
That looks
like a Tic
very
Tac.
human made, very much like human technology.
Yeah, there's even a number here at the bot right here, NX90
Well,
or 98, but it looks like an egg-shaped craft. It looks like the what you would describe as like a Tic Tac.
yeah. The more evidence and the more we see pictures like this, the more likely it is we're just dealing with experimental military craft or even experimental craft by engineers that got wind of some of that technology and made it themselves because the regulations in the sky weren't all encompassing like they are now, and people might have been able to get away with engineering some of that stuff themselves a little bit back then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the airships of the
Yeah.
late 1800s. There is a document that I don't have readily available that I can't find it, but it shows dimensions and sketches of some airships with propellers. I sent them to Walter Bosley for him to check out. But that, and then we got these all of these military photos from fighter jets that have supposedly taken photos of anomalous objects in the sky, like this one, that one. This one's a composite sketch. This isn't a real photo. It's obviously not a
Yeah.
real photo. It's definitely been messed with, and this just has been inserted into the photo. But this is from eyewitness account of what several people said that they had saw, which was this cylindrical cigar shaped object coming out of a white portal flash of light.
Yeah.
Here's some pictures from Apollo 12 that show some anomalous lights in the sky. Here's some other ones of the anomalous lights on the moon from Apollo 12, which I believe is just it's just that the sound is just you're just getting backlighting from the sound stage that they're filming it on,
Yeah.
the front screen
That's
projection.
unfortunate. They have a few NASA photos in there from astronaut briefings and like those other moon photos that you were showing. All of those are super sketch.
Okay, here is the airship document. Really quickly, I'm gonna pull back up Zoom, screen
You know,
share.
they still could be building the narrative that we were told that they told the pastors that the aliens created us. They're highly advanced interdimensional species. The older photos, looking back now, they are kind of ridiculous for us to, in our modern age, really grasp onto that narrative. But I'm interested to see when more of the newer stuff comes out, what they have to portray the new modern crafts. It already seems like there is different technology that they're presenting.
Yeah, it's really strange how fast the technology of UFOs have transitioned. I mean, we're still using the same cars that we've been using for 80 years now. Very little has changed. We're still using the same trains, the same planes, same modes of transportation with a few different variants in there, you know. But UFOs went from a rudimentary saucer-shaped physical craft to a interdimensional time traveling portal making submersible in just 20 years.
Yeah, they haven't even started releasing the underwater stuff yet, which who knows how much of that's going to be included.
Yeah, this is one of the documents that looks like airships here. This is a classic airship with the propellers and the wings and this is written in a different language, so it's hard to
Yeah.
really
This was in
decipher.
the files?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. This is the file number is up here
Yeah, all right. All
on the
right.
left, but I
Excellent.
thought that was pretty interesting. And there's another one
Yeah.
of orbs.
Those listening on the audio end, if you'd like to see the images we are presenting here, come over to YouTube or Rumble, please.
Yeah, you're not going to get it anywhere else because no one has gone through any of these yet. I mean, they will. I'm sure
They will. They will.
by tonight or by tomorrow, everyone have already found all this stuff. But
That's right. You heard it here first, folks. Ryder Lee.
That's right, baby. All right, let me get this other one up about the orbs because I thought it was kind of interesting too. But other than this stuff that I'm pointing out, there's really nothing else other than it's just a bunch of reports that
A
doesn't give
lot of
you
reports,
more information than what you already
which
have.
I'm sure if you delve into some of those, they'll probably have some interesting reports, but a lot of those are extremely difficult to read and blurry. So that's going to take time to dive deep into some of those files.
Yeah, I was basically just scrolling and trying to find interesting thing that has stuff that has any type of evidence to it.
Yeah.
Mm, This one is the orbs launching orbs. This is called the Western U.S. event. Three teams of federal law enforcement, special agents, independently described seeing orange orbs in the sky emitting and launch smaller red orbs in groups of 2 to 4, with 3 being the general consensus. This is stated to have occurred at least 5 times. Each time the orange orb would appear to launch red orbs, then disappear. The orange orb was only visible for 1 or 2 seconds. The red orbs would generally move away from the orange mother orb in a horizontal path, but in then a couple instances, the red orb would stand and move, heading up at an angle, while other witnesses stated sometimes the red orbs would swoop down after being launched from the larger orange orb. These events were witnessed by multiple teams from varying locations and vantage points over a 2-day period. Due to the sequential nature of events, it is not known whether there was a single orange mother orb or released the group of red orbs, whether there were multiple orange orbs at play. Orb, 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 orb. Orange orb, red orb.
Want to see a mother orb?
Give me that mother orb. A large fiery orb. Two federal law enforcement special agents witnessed glowing orange orb at a distance of approximately 500 to 600 meters. Were perched close to the rock pinnacle. Size was difficult to determine, but appeared to be similar in size to the small helicopter cockpit. Witnesses were able to clearly see any structure other than the glowing orb. Noted that the object did almost appear it might have had a small spindle or something connecting from the underneath of the rock formation. Witnesses state that the object did not emit any noticeable sound. Object was described as being similar to the eye of Sauron. The eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, Chris. Boom, baby, you got the eye of Sauron.
He's always
Right there in
watching.
the files. Seemed to be hovering over zero resistance or movement or suspended. The sighting lasted about a minute. Yep, that's right, baby. We seen the Eye of Sauron. What did J.R.R. Tolkien know about the orb?
So
Uh,
these are mostly from police and federal agents' reports.
yeah, yeah. I'm not making fun of. I think that there's something to this. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny what they tend to relate them to. We relate things that we see based off of what we know and what we can, surmise in our mind. I mean, Kenneth Arnold did this all the time. He would say that the UFOs look like a flock of geese, or you know what I mean? Like we just try and relate anything that we know due to the current things that we understand.
Yeah.
This
And
one's
one
really
person's perception could be much different from the next. Two people could see very different things at the same time in the sky.
exactly. It's up to interpretation. It's the Jungian perspective, baby.
Yeah.
This one's interesting. Transparent kite. About 30 minutes after the dark kite sighting, federal law enforcement special agents returned to the same general area with a colleague in response to a report another unauthorized object in the area within a few hundred meters of the dark kite sighting. Two of the team members observed a kite-shaped object with a lighting pattern similar to the object seen previously. This object is about 6 meters off the ground. It canted at an angle lower right, upper left, and appeared to be floating slowly with the wind. Over here is a depiction of what this transparent kite looked like. The witness
Interesting.
noticed that the shining, when the shining light was like around it. At one point, my beam went through the shining. Ooh, we're talking about the shining. What did Kubrick know about the UFOs, bro? Shining far into the distance to stop about 50 yards away, and nothing in particular. It was just not projecting into the distance. And then it was when the witness pointed the light at the spot where the light had appeared to be blocked by something. The time the light was projecting into the distance again, the team was unable to require sight of the object. Okay. And the way that they say these things is so damn confusing. The light and the kite and the kite and the light. The
Man, you
orb.
remember at our gathering when we had the night vision goggles and you saw that V-shaped craft slowly hovering over? It was pretty high, but it must have been pretty big too.
That one was interesting. We saw that V-shaped craft. Then we also saw that triangle thing that was just spinning.
I missed that one.
That one was weird. But yeah, other than that, we got, I mean, that's pretty much all that I found that was even somewhat interesting. The rest of it is just documents upon documents. And like I said in the beginning, if you want to see basically all the pictures that are in the documents, all you got to do is go to the main page of the Department of War website, and you can look at all the pictures. Besides some of the Apollo 12 and I think Apollo 13 photos. I think that's on page 15. Page 15 or 16 is all of the NASA photos with the anomalous things and the background. So pretty much what you get is, you know, some of the things that I found. You get a bunch of reports and documents, you know, that's not really giving any kind of more information than what we already knew. A lot of it was focused on Kenneth Arnold. I mean, the first like 3 or 4 documents of the entire thing is nothing but Kenneth Arnold sightings. I didn't see any Betty and Barney Hill stuff. There wasn't anything about abductions unless it's in some of the reports, but
Yeah.
no real photos. We get some of the unreleased images were taken by these fighter jets. You know,
I
that's
will say, I never thought I would see this information being released by the government just 10 years ago. There's an extreme amount of deception surrounding the entire UFO narrative. Seeing the direction that this plays out is going to be very interesting to me because, like I said, they seem to have the 2 different narratives to choose from. Based on what they're going to be releasing, which narrative are they going to build on more? And I think it's going to be along the lines of what was claimed to be told to the pastors. But I want to get your thoughts on the missing scientists. There's a few different areas that these scientists were involved with, and I'm sure they have some that are connected in some ways, and I'm sure some are just coincidences. But what are your thoughts on that?
well, first off, I think it's really interesting. If that meeting did really happen between the churches and the pastors and all that, I think that it's really interesting that the government still believes that the church pastors have a big of an influence on the public as they once did, right?
Yeah,
You know,
that's
oh
true.
no, we're going to release these documents that's going to blow up. It's going to make everybody really question their entire reality. We're proving that aliens are real. You know, we better contact all the church pastors so we have a
To
court.
me, that would just reinforce really religious people's beliefs. And they would go a step further and say the government is lying to them because they believe in God and they believe in Jesus. And they were told that we'd have this deception upon us during the end days. So it seems like that would make them double down in their beliefs, not revert to atheism all of a sudden.
Yeah. So, how many followers do you have on? Is your podcast ranked in the top podcast on Apple? It's up there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like number between 25 and 35 in the spirituality category.
Okay, you're 23, 25. You have like how many subscribers on YouTube now? Like at least 30.
32,000, but they gypped me of a few years of that, but somewhere around there.
So you got like 32,000, 35,000. You have a bigger influence on the perception of the public with the amount of followers and the amount of subscribers and the amount of listens and where you're ranked on the top podcast on Apple than 99% of the church pastors and any church in the United States.
There are a lot of deeply religious Christians, aside from what they told the pastors. I believe they would handle this information much differently than the government thinks or is trying to portray that they think they would. I think a lot of people would just double down in their beliefs and believe that they're being lied to by the government. We'll see how it all plays out.
Because it's really demons. It's really demons. They should release the files to prove that it's really demons. That's the only way that it's going to go. Do you know what the public is going to do? Right? Let's say that this isn't and this might be just, it's definitely just the first drop. There's more coming. Right? There's definitely more coming. Okay, this has been going on for almost 80 years, or just a little bit over 80 years, since the first Kenneth Arnold sighting is really whenever this entire thing started really exploding. So you have several decades of information. And that's another thing that's in the files. There's like a bunch of FBI reports from J. Edgar Hoover. Like people are just writing J. Edgar Hoover saying that you guys, the FBI needs to investigate my claims or investigate or give us more information. And then J. Edgar Hoover writes them back and is like, the FBI isn't responsible for investigating UFO phenomena. That's basically what he says to every single person. But there's tons and tons and letters and notes
Yeah.
of people writing the FBI in this. But we got like 1 million Epstein files. Okay. And Epstein had been going on since a real investigation probably didn't actually start happening until like the early 2000s. But yeah, we got millions of Epstein files.
Mhm.
There's so many of them that you can't even, that you got to have a keyword to be able to search for the thing that you want to try and look up. Okay, but we got 147 or 140 some UFO files when this is a phenomenon that's been at least going on in modern times since 1947. Give me a break. There's way more to come. There has to be. There's no way that this is it.
Yeah.
And that might be a part of the plan too, is drop this a little bit amount of stuff, get people to think that there's nothing to it. So then whenever they drop more in the future, that might actually be of more substance that could prove what that pastor was saying, that there are creator. And I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just trying to look at it from their perspective and what they might do, right? The thing that comes out later might be the big heavy hitting thing, but people will then cease to care about it because they'll be they won't immediately go and look at it, so it won't be that big of a deal like it is now. So the first drop was the biggest hype drop, but it turned out to be pretty much a nothing burger, other than the things that I just showed you and the things that I talked about that I felt that was interesting.
Yeah.
Only thing else that could possibly be in there is some anecdotal evidence from some reports and some documents that are from some military documents. But from the military documents that I read, it did not give you any more information than what we already had. There was not any conclusions drawn. There wasn't, this is definitely extraterrestrial, they're definitely aliens, or they're here to take us over, or there are creators. There's absolutely nothing like that than any of the ones that I've seen. So if anybody else has found anything like that, then please let me know, or drop a comment below, or contact Chris, contact me, or whatever. But once I got through all of that, I was like, okay, well, what's really going on here? But you know what the public is going to do, Chris, if this does happen, right? if something does get released in the future that completely dismantles religion and makes people question Christianity and question the Bible and completely dismantles the New Testament and destroys Jesus, that Jesus wasn't real, he was a construct created by the extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you think that they're going to go to the church and ask their preacher?
Right.
No, they're going to flip on YouTube. They're going to get on Spotify, they're going to get on Apple Podcasts, and they're going to flip to their favorite podcaster, and they're going to listen to what they have to say about it. You know, how many people went to the church and asked their pastor about the Epstein files?
Well, if that's true, we're going to have some good times ahead, buddy. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. But going back to the missing scientists, do you think that any of them are at all connected with the current disclosure? Maybe they're being silenced before this stuff comes out because what they know could be detrimental to the information that they're trying to control, the narrative they're trying to control.
I mean, it could be. I really don't know what to think about the missing scientists or the scientists that have been found dead. I know there's a connection to a lot of them to Los Alamos labs,
Mm-hmm.
but as I just don't really know what to think about it. I just don't know
Yeah.
because there's so many different. A lot of them have been linked to the UFO community. Kind of blew it up and was like, "All these are UFO scientists." That's not true.
No.
They're not. And
And it's
they've
unfortunate what's happened with the death of David Wilcock. You and I have been aware of what Wilcock was about for a very long time. And to have tons of conspiracy theorists, wild accusations about him being involved with the secret space program and being assassinated or being offed by clandestine government groups, it gets pretty ridiculous when you really know the true story of what happened. And it's a very sad story. It's very unfortunate.
It is a very sad story, and I definitely do feel bad for him. He didn't really have any friends. His wife left him. He invested a lot of money into Savati Aerospace, which did not produce any products. It did not produce anything that they said that it was going to produce, and then it was in turn being sued for millions of dollars from another investor, which was also a scammer, apparently, supposedly was also a scammer. So it was a scammer trying to scam a scammer, and the scammer wanted its money back. And then
Damn.
there was the whole idea that, well, not an idea, it was proven that he was over $1 million in debt to the IRS.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that was hanging over his head, and that there were some rumors and speculation that he had received some sort of letter from the IRS saying that they were going to confiscate his house because his house
It's
was
so sad, man. He had a huge gig at Gaia and he was thriving. He obviously had millions to spend at one point, but this Corey Good character seemed to infiltrate his life and then everything fucking falls apart from there.
Yeah, it's a really sad deal. And feel really bad for him, even though, I don't agree with anything that he said. Like, I don't ever want anybody to go out like that. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, like it's a horrible way to go out. But the police recording and the police radio transmissions were saying that, that he had ran out of money and that he had to leave and all this. And yeah, it's just a really sad situation. But
Yeah.
people lumping him into the category of some sort of aerospace engineer or aerospace scientist is completely and fundamentally untrue. So,
Mm,
if anything, that's a way to cover up some of the real scientists and the real engineers that have gone missing that maybe need more of a spotlight on.
yeah.
That
Well, as I said earlier about the entire UFO disclosure narrative, I think the truth is somewhere between their aliens and their demons, and there's a lot in between there. There's a wide spectrum of what people could be experiencing. I do think there's a deception level. There's a level being orchestrated by our own government, but I also think there's something genuine happening with some people. There's maybe something genuine that we're seeing in the sky at times. Now, genuine, I mean, it could be anything from a natural phenomena to a ghost to a demon to an alien to swamp gas. There is a wide variety of possibilities that we could be dealing with in the umbrella of extraterrestrials and alien disclosure. Like I said, I do think that there is something that people are experiencing that could be considered paranormal. They could be in contact with beings that would be considered non-human. There's no real evidence, unfortunately, for any of this, but what are your thoughts on the possibilities of something really happening between the alien and demon narratives?
Well, if anything, it seems like a big setup for some sort of false flag, alien invasion. Because if they do go the route that they're demons, then that's a good setup for an alien destruction on the United States and abroad, right?
Right.
If people already don't want them or don't like them, then that's a good setup for them to attack, right?
But do
All
you
you
think that there is something genuinely, let's say, paranormal happening within the spectrum of phenomena?
I believe that there are certain unexplainable things, but that's exactly what it is. It's unexplainable. You can't
Mm.
explain it. You're not supposed to explain it. You're not supposed to know. You know, it's just something that kind of happens. I mean, I've experienced really strange things in my life. I don't know what it was, and I'm not going to claim to know what it was. And I think everyone really has, and they would be. And if you haven't, then I mean, I kind of feel a little bit bad for you because you haven't really experienced life. But um, there's things that occur that are just completely defies all logic and defies all reason, and there's really nothing that you can do about it. And the only thing that you can do about it is be like, "Huh, that was pretty weird. That was
There
pretty."
does seem to be some mysteries in this reality that we may not be able to understand, or maybe we're not even supposed to understand them. I've had plenty of experiences like that. Is there any final thoughts on what we went over today, what we could be seeing in the future with any of this?
I think we could expect more file dumps of this UFO and UAP topic. I don't believe that this is the last one. It can't be the last one. So, and everybody wants that big, huge piece of evidence, right? They want that thing that has the government stamp of approval on it, saying, you know what? Aliens are real. They're here to harvest us.
Yeah.
They're means they're extraterrestrial, they're interdimensional, and they've been here for it, but that's not going to happen. There's no file like that exists. I mean, you can get some allusions to things here and there, but you're not going to get the end all be all file, just like you're not going to get the moon landing end all be all file, just like you're not going to get the JFK end all be all file of saying exactly who did it. You know what I mean? You're never going to get any of that. So if that's what you're expecting, then you're fighting a losing battle already. You probably shouldn't pay attention to any of it because it's
Yeah.
not going to be what you want it to be. So I think that we just got to kind of keep our eyes peeled on it and kind of follow it, and whatever comes out, try and rummage through it, scan through it, see if you can find anything interesting. I mean, that's immediately what I did when I woke up this morning, and I posted it all on Facebook and X and shared it here on your show. And I'll be, sharing what I found, later on throughout the week, and it's really not much. There's really not much there. Again, unless you want to read through all of those old ass files that nothing is going to be in. There might be
Yeah.
a few cases in there that are kind of interesting that you haven't heard about before, but there's not going to be any definitive answers in any of it. An
Seems
alien, we got the alien body. The alien body is at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and then it's at Area 51. Area 51 is the testing. You know what I mean? It's not going to be any of that.
Seems just like with the Epstein files, there seems to be a layer of demoralization and desensitization just to keep people wanting more, but more confused than ever with less answers and more to consider about the possibilities. We're in interesting times, man. Before I let you go, remind everyone how they can get all of your content.
Yeah, pretty much what it's going to do is it's just going to create more questions, right? That's all that it's intended to do. I mean, we didn't get anything out of the Epstein stuff. All we got was more questions. Nothing was ever done about it. It's going to be the same way with this. Things can continue to trickle out and come out, but nothing is ever going to be done about it. They'll have a little congressional hearing, just kind of how they did with Pam Bondi and the Epstein files, where they grill her for 2.5, 3 hours over the Epstein files, and that'll be it. And then it'll be done. And then we'll be on to the next thing, just like what's going to happen with this. We're going to be on to the next thing. Next week, I guarantee you, Chris, something else is going to be going on, and the large majority of the people are not going to be worried about this anymore until the next dump. And then
I won't be satisfied till I see the alien that was on a leash come in my front yard and talk to me.
That's right. That's what you need. You got to have some physical proof with all of these allegations, right? If you're going to say that this is what's going on, then you're going to have to wheel out the alien body. You're going to have to wheel out the alien craft.
Let me touch it.
Yeah, let me feel it. Let me put my fingers in it, trinkle with it a little bit. Let me give it a little rub. Something like, because at this point, people are kind of tired of it. Yeah, you get some files, whatever. But people are kind of tired of the whole string you along and don't really give you anything type of scenario. But thanks for having me on, Chris. Really appreciate it. If people are interested, they can check me out on Raised by Giants on YouTube, any and all podcast platforms, and be on the lookout for my latest and newest documentary that will be released on Amazon Prime and Apple TV Plus, hopefully by the end of the month, called Psychic Aging, the Gate Program. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Ryder. We'll do it again. Until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. Talk again tomorrow. Watch Doors of Perception, now on Amazon Prime. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order. We live in an incredible age of information. More and more, we're discovering that we've been lied to and misled about much of our human history. Cory Hughes is providing profound revelations about World War I, World War II, the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King's assassination, and much, much more on his new Substack, Bloody History. Subscribe now for as little as $5 monthly. Just click that link right in the description to get started now and learn about our true history. Hello, friends. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule, check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey, knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description, and you can get 15% off your entire order.